How much money do you really need to retire in the US? You've probably asked yourself this question more than once. How much money do I really need to retire comfortably? Some days, it feels like everyone has a different answer. $500,000, $1 million, $2 million, and then you read stories about people retiring with just $200,000 or nothing at all. So, which one is right? Let's talk, just like family would. Not financial advisors or investment gurus, just one real person to another, figuring out life after 60. You see, retirement isn't just about numbers. It's about what kind of life you want to live. Do you want peace and quiet on a porch in rural Arkansas? Or a little condo near the beach in California? Do you want to travel? Eat out often? Help your grandkids with college? Or just make sure you'll never run out of money for your prescriptions? The truth is, there's no one-size-fits-all answer, but there are truths, real, simple truths that can help you find your number. Let's start here. How much does the average retired person spend? According to data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average retired household in the US spends about $4,000 a month, or nearly $50,000 a year. Here's where that money goes. 33% on housing, 16% on healthcare, 13% on food, 12% on transportation, and the rest on personal care, insurance, and hobbies. Surprised? It's more than many people expect, especially healthcare. Medicare doesn't cover everything. Dental, vision, hearing aids, they all add up. So if you're aiming for $50,000 per year in retirement, how much do you need to save? That's where the 4% rule comes in. It says if you withdraw 4% of your retirement savings each year, your money should last about 30 years. So if you need $50,000 a year, you'd need about $25 million saved. If you only need $30,000 a year, you'd need around $750,000. Seems like a lot? It is. And yet, many retirees don't have anywhere near that. In fact, according to Fidelity, by age 60-67, the average American only has around $200,000 to $300,000 in retirement accounts. So how are they surviving? Here's the truth. Most retirees live on a mix of Social Security and modest savings. And yes, some make it work. They live in lower-cost areas, they own their home, they stay healthy. But it's not easy, and it's not guaranteed. Let's look at Social Security. In 2024, the average monthly Social Security check was $1,900. That's about $2,200 to $800 a year. Not even half of what most retirees need. If you're lucky and earned a high income during your working years, you might get closer to $3,000 a month, but most get less than $2,000. Can you live on that? Maybe. Can you live comfortably on that? Probably not, unless your life is very minimal and your housing is paid off. Now let's talk about where you live, because it changes everything. Living in San Francisco or New York City, expect to spend $70,000, $100,000 per year easily. Move to a quieter town in Tennessee or Mississippi, you might live on $30,000 and $40,000 comfortably. That's why many retirees move after they stop working. To downsize, to stretch their savings, to find peace. But it's not just about money. It's also about community, safety, access to healthcare, and staying close to the people you love. Here's something else people don't talk about enough. Retirement isn't one long vacation. It's real life. There will be surprise medical bills, There may be emergencies. There will be months when the market drops and your 401k shrinks. That's why the number you need isn't just what covers basic bills. You also need a cushion, a buffer, something to help you sleep at night. So what's the realistic number for retirement? For most people in the US, a comfortable retirement needs $500,000 to $1 million in savings, minimal debt, and Social Security to fill the gap. But here's the secret. Even if you don't hit that number, you're not doomed. There are people who retire with $200,000 and still live well because they're careful. They budget. They avoid big medical surprises by staying active. They cook instead of eating out. They volunteer instead of spending on entertainment. In the end, what matters most is not just the money, but how you live. Let's bring it back to you. If you're 60 or 65 and you don't have $1 million saved, take a deep breath. You're not alone. Start by figuring out your real costs. Look at your housing, your health, your habits. What can you simplify? What brings you joy that costs nothing? You may not need as much as you think. And if you're younger and still working, now is the time. Save what you can. Invest wisely. Don't wait until someday, because someday is coming. Faster than you think, and you deserve a retirement that feels safe, stable, and truly yours. Let's go a bit deeper now. You might be thinking, okay, I get the general idea, but what does this really look like in the real world? Let's look at some actual numbers. Depending on where you live in the US, cost of living by state. A quick breakdown: California, one of the most expensive states. Median rent for a one-bedroom, $2,300 a month. Monthly retirement budget needed, $5,500 to $7,000. Even if you own your home, the property tax and insurance costs can be shocking. Florida, popular for retirees, but getting pricier. Rent, around $1,600 a month. Monthly budget, $3,500, $4,500, but many seniors choose it for the weather and tax benefits. There's no state income tax. Texas, a mix of cities and small towns. Rent, $1,200 to $800, depending on city. Monthly budget, $3,000, $4,000. Property taxes are high, but cost of food and gas are lower. Mississippi, West Virginia, Arkansas, most affordable. Rent, $700, $1,000. Monthly needs, as low as $2,000, $3,000, but access to healthcare and social activities may be limited. So depending on your location, the difference could be $2,000 a month or more. That's $24,000 a year just because of where you live. And that's why so many retirees relocate. Sometimes it's not about chasing a dream, it's about survival. Real story. Retiring with $200,000, let me tell you about George. He worked as a warehouse supervisor his whole life, never made more than $55,000 a year. At age 62, he had just under $210,000 in his 401k. He didn't feel ready for retirement, but his knees said otherwise. So he sat down and did the math. He realized that if he stayed in Chicago, where rent was $1,800 a month, he'd run out of money in 8 years. So he moved to a small town in Kentucky, found a tiny home for $72,000, paid it off with savings. His Social Security was $1,600 a month. His monthly costs around $1,200. He grows some of his food, volunteers at the local church, has a few close friends, goes fishing, sleeps well. He's not rich, but he's not worried. He told me, I used to think retirement meant cruises and fancy golf. Now I know peace of mind is luxury enough. That's the thing. You don't need a mansion to be happy. You need safety, predictability, and a few good people around. How to save on healthcare after 60. Healthcare is often what destroys a retirement budget, but there are ways to reduce the risk. Preventive care is everything. Walk daily. Control sugar and blood pressure. Get screenings. Every illness you avoid is thousands saved. Use Medicare Advantage wisely. Some plans include dental and vision. Compare them every year. Prescription savings programs. Use apps like GoodRx. Ask about generics. Switch pharmacies if needed. Stay active and connected. Loneliness leads to depression, which affects physical health. A walk with friends may do more than a dozen pills. What if you're 55 and behind? It's not too late. If you're 55 and only just starting to save, don't panic. Max out catch-up contributions. If you're over 50, you can contribute more to IRAs and 401ks. Delay Social Security if you can. Every year you wait, your monthly check increases. Downsize early. Sell that big house. Pay off debt. Simplify now, not later. Consider part-time work after retirement. Even $500 a month from a side job can stretch your savings by years. Most importantly, don't let shame stop you. Too many people feel embarrassed about not saving enough. But shame solves nothing. Action does. Retirement is not the end. Here's the truth no one tells you. Retirement is not the end of the road. It's not the end of your usefulness. It's not the end of your purpose. It's a chapter, yes, with challenges, but also with freedom. Many of the happiest people I know are in their 60s and 70s. They garden, mentor, watch the sunrise slowly. They aren't rich, but they are free from rushing. One woman told me, after 40 years of running, I finally get to walk, and I love it. So how much money do you really need? Enough to feel safe, enough to say no to things that exhaust you, enough to say yes to small joys. That number is different for everyone. But peace has no price tag. And you can build it step by step, even if you start late.